call to order the July 28th meeting of the Port Orchard City Council. And I would like to remind us of our guiding principles and the actions we're about to take. Are we raising the bar in all of our actions? Are we honoring the past but not living in the past? Are we building positive connections with our community and outside partners? And is the decision-making process building a diverse, equitable, and inclusive community? We have a special guest here this evening from Scout Group 1528 from Molalla, and they're going to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, council members, we have a published agenda. Are there any proposed modifications to the agenda tonight? Councilmember Trenary?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add to the discussion items, item number D, to outside investigative report findings.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion, a couple of seconds. So I got a motion by Councilmember Trenary and a second by Councilmember Morrissey to add a discussion item D, which is the findings of an investigative report. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none in opposition, that is added unanimously. Any other proposed modifications? Councilmember Rosepepe.
Mayor, I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Rosepepe, a second by Councilmember Trenary to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? And is that, did I have a Councilmember Dedman online?
Yeah, I said aye.
Okay, all right. I just didn't realize you were online. Well, thank you
Okay,
for joining
aye.
us.
Yes, been here.
Agenda has been set for this evening. We are to our first citizen comment period. Anyone wishing to address the council has 3 minutes, and please be mindful of the flashing light when it comes on. And anybody online wishing to address the council, use the raise your hand feature and the clerk will bring you into the meeting. So go ahead.
Hi, I'm Tawny Cowan, independent journalist and founder of Port Orchard Politics. I'm back here again to please ask you guys to please get clarity from a judge on whether or not the vacancy is legal. And the reason I have a problem with it is everybody can read the law, and the law says that you can't take action in executive session. It should have come back to the public session like you did. I've watched it. It didn't come out in that public session after the executive session. And had that been done right, we wouldn't be having these conversations and these problems. You know, I'm gonna do what I can to work with my representative about having the law be a little bit more clear for you guys and for everybody else. But I have a problem with anyone going in to a private conversation for any of you and asking for your resignation when you guys are elected officials. The only people that can ask you for a resignation are the people that elected you, okay? That guardrail is there for a reason, and that includes everybody. Now, I'm not gonna take he said, she said stuff. I'm just not. The law is clear that it needs to happen in public. And what if they don't want to do it in public afterwards? Well, then you can take it, like I'm trying to get the law to reflect that you would be able to take an oral resignation that way after a set amount of time. But that's not the law right now. And right now, since there's this big question, if you guys get in front of a judge and a judge agrees with you, then it's settled, right? We don't have to draw it out anymore. And so that's what I would love for you guys to consider, to please bring this. If you believe that what you did was lawful, please bring it in front of a judge and have a judge back that up. I'm not gonna believe 100 attorneys. I'm gonna believe a judge. The people aren't gonna believe 100 attorneys. The people are gonna believe a judge. And Mr. Rosepepe, what you said in the meeting on the 21st, the work session meeting about the people not trusting you guys because of something that Ms. Dedman did, that's not true. The people don't trust you guys because OPMA says resignations have to happen in public. She's saying she didn't resign. That's the only public thing we have from her. You know, what are we supposed to automatically just trust the government? Come on, nobody does that. You know? So it's not a reflection on any of you guys individually. It's about the job performance. Please, please, please consider, because there's other things I'd like to write about. There's other things that the community would like to talk about. But right now, everybody's upset because everybody feels like all of you decided for them.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you for your comments.
This is for the record.
I'm Heidi Fenton, City Council member. What gives City Council the authority to threaten me with criminal charges? What law did I break? What criminal investigation took place? They are taking the law into their own hands. No documentation, no investigation, no due process. Why are they doing this? To steal my seat. Unbeknownst to me, Councilmember Warden contacted my daughter using scare tactics. He told her that if I don't resign, a city employee will press criminal charges. Why would he do this? So they can steal my seat. Councilmember Diener claimed he has seen me intoxicated many times at meetings. That is not true. Go look for yourself. I have never missed a city council meeting, work study, or committee meeting. I have always been professional. Why would he lie? So they can steal my seat. In the June 16th executive session, I was bullied, threatened, and intimidated by all 5 councilmen and the city lawyer. I did not want to resign, and I said so. And I asked for more time repeatedly. John Morrissey said, no, you have to decide right now. Resign or face criminal charges and public defamation. Why would they blackmail me? To steal my seat. I will not be bullied by this corruption. The mayor is holding my wages for ransom. This corruption and blackmail runs deep. I have said time and time again that I did not resign, I do not resign, and with an email to document it. Why would they continue with this vacancy? To steal my seat and steal the people's votes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Anyone else wishing to address the council?
Good evening. My name is Katie Ocker, and I'm here tonight because I believe that every person in Port Orchard should be able to walk in their own neighborhood without wondering if they're going to be attacked by loose dogs. A week ago, on July 19th, I was walking my dog in my neighborhood when I was attacked by 3 dogs with a known history of aggression. 2 of those dogs bit me on a public street. I suffered multiple puncture wounds to my legs, lost tissue from one of those bites, required emergency medical treatment, a tetanus shot, and a course of antibiotics. While my physical injuries will heal, the emotional impact has been just as real. I've had nightmares, I've lost sleep, and now when I walk my dog, I find myself constantly scanning for danger. No resident should have to feel this way in their own neighborhood. I reported the attack to law enforcement, to Kitsap County and Kitsap County Animal Control. I have done everything that our system requires a victim to do. But through this process, I've become deeply concerned that our current ordinances do not adequately protect residents or create meaningful accountability for irresponsible dog owners. I am asking this council to direct your staff to conduct a formal review of Port Orchard's dangerous animal ordinances. Some of these policies have not been meaningfully updated since 1999. This community has changed in the last 27 years, and the public safety policies should reflect today's realities. Specifically, I ask that you examine whether the current policies provide sufficient consequences for owners whose dogs repeatedly escape, threaten neighbors, or injure people. I have spoken with my neighbors who have told me they have called animal control and law enforcement about this property for years. And I also ask you to explore and ensure victims are not left carrying the financial burdens of someone else's negligence through lost wages, medical bills, and other costs resulting from this attack. Finally, I want to share with you guys what has disturbed me the most. Since this attack, almost every person that I have told about it, they have offered the same advice. You need to get a gun. Others have suggested other weapons like pepper spray or wasp spray or carry a stick when I walk my dog. Think about what that means. When a community's answer to public safety is that ordinary residents should arm themselves to simply walk on a public street, we have stopped believing that our institutions will help or solve a problem. That should concern us all. I don't believe this is a Port Orchard that we want to build or where we want to live. Public safety is not measured by how we respond to attacks, but is measured by how we prevent the next one. Tonight, I'm asking you to do 3 things. First, direct your staff to conduct a formal review of the city's dangerous animal ordinances. Second, bring forward proposals for amendments that strengthen accountability for owners whose dogs repeatedly run at large, threaten residents, and attack people. Third, ensure that victims are not left navigating the financial and legal consequences of these attacks alone. I have provided Councilmember Scott Diener with examples of ordinances from Bremerton and Bainbridge Island, and I encourage your staff to look to other cities in Washington to have adopted stronger and more effective ordinances.
Please try to wrap up your remarks. You're well beyond your time.
I want to be the next person standing at this podium. I don't want to be the next person standing at this podium asking why nothing's changed. I want to be the last person here who has to stand because our ordinance weren't strong enough to prevent a foreseeable attack. Sorry, that one read.
Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks.
Good evening, everybody, Councilman and Chief and everyone that's here. I want to introduce myself. My name is Francisco Salcido. I am the the founder of Shekinah Multicultural Bilingual Resource Foundation, and we're also the co-founders of Christian Shekinah Church, the First Bilingual. So we are a bilingual church and offering that services to the community. We're here to build bridges across cultures through faith, compassion, and community engagements. I myself am a combat vet from the Gulf War I served both in the Army and in the Marine Corps. I later retired from DOD after serving, and then led a federal audit team through many audits within the government. Reason why I say this is that I want to be able to help any way that I can because of the assets that I have acquired as far as the knowledge. One thing that we have, I am a published author. Why me? Why not you? Sharing to help cope with PTSD, journey of faith, military service, and overcoming death while at war. We are a veteran certified owned business or nonprofit. Also, we're on the early stage of that. So we're trying to work within Kitsap Resource Center with Tony Ives. He is kind of mentoring us and working us through the process. We are helping families, as right now we have 2 families that are going through the process in Kitsap Rescue Mission. We support veterans. Big thing is that we're able to have a safe place to speak on, where we can able to address these PTSD and then depression, anxiety, and the voice of no one wants to hear. We're also Spanish, so we're working on getting certified My wife is almost there with the medical certification. I am certified within the Spanish just to translate. And we're able to promote more equitable access through that culture, response, and communication that they can have. We are building community partnerships. We have built with Peninsula Credit Union, Darryl McVeigh from Financial Outreach in Shelton, Vanessa Hernandez Spanish Outreach in Belfair, and also other stores like Lone Star. They help us with their donations and they believe in the cause that what we're doing. Right now, in 2026, I am also holding another hat that I am the PMA, Prison Mission Association Spanish Direction. So we're moving these hubs of correcting these lessons and sending lessons to inmates in the jail across the nation, and we just did one in Panama internationally. So looking ahead long term is that we want to bridge that gap multicultural. It's not about Hispanics, it's not about your English, it's a multicultural. We want to be able to give the youth and have that education, that advocacy that we can see in one roof. And to end with this, every family deserves to be heard, every veteran deserves dignity, every child deserves opportunity, every senior deserves respect, every person deserves access to resources regardless of the language they speak. This is the mission that drives the Shekinah Multicultural and Bilingual Resources. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else wishing to address the council? Anybody online, Brandy? Hand raised? There is, okay.
Hello, my name is Alanis Dugan, and I just want to address this issue. I was going to address this issue at the transportation Zoom meetings. However, for the past 3 months, they have been canceled, so I have no other option but to address it at this meeting. I am requesting pedestrian safety improvements for the intersection of Southeast Olney Avenue, Southeast Orlando Street, and Southeast Sprague Street. This intersection is frequently used by pedestrians, but there is no marked crosswalk connecting the existing sidewalk corners. There is several school bus stops, several Kitsap Transit bus stops at this corner, and I would just like to request that the city evaluates this area for a marked crosswalk because I believe it's very dangerous for children and adults who are using public transit in this area. And that's all.
Could I ask that you reach out to our Public Works Director, Dennis Ryan, and so that I think he's got most of that information. But if you email him with your contact information, he will be able to respond to you.
Yeah, so I have gotten a response from Veronica Dennison, who told me that she spoke with him. She's an office assistant there, and they just said that they don't have the funding for this, but it's a high priority area. So I'm just requesting, like, this is a very dangerous area for children in Port Orchard, so I think it should remain on the top of the priority list.
Okay, we appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the City Council this evening? Randy says no. There's no one else online, so I will close the first citizen comment period. We have a consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Diener, second by Councilmember Morrissey to approve the consent agenda this evening. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed?
Yes, I thought we were allowed to discuss it. That's why I have my hand up.
Okay, we don't typically discuss the consent agenda. That's a consent, or consent
Oh,
items. It would have
I
been-
move to table a consent agenda item, consent agenda item G, approval of minutes, June 16, 2026, work study session.
Okay, you have a chance to vote yay or nay, and so is your vote nay to approve the agenda? I hear no second to table
sorry,
for your motion
I'm-
to table, so
Oh, okay, so I have to wait for somebody else to second the motion to table.
yes.
Okay, and so nobody's seconding the motion to table the minutes.
And I might point an order of that, Mayor. That part of this meeting has
agenda.
already come and passed. She should have done that during the agenda portion, setting the agenda.
Technically correct.
So,
Yes. So,
Tabling, are you sure with tabling?
yes, you would have needed to pull that item from the consent agenda
To
and
be
moved it to business items for that to be considered. The consent agenda is approved as a block. So you can choose to vote no, or you can vote yay.
Okay,
Those are-
no.
Okay.
Thank
so
you.
The consent agenda passes 5-1. We have no presentations. We have no public hearings. We have 4 business items, the first of which, adoption of a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a Public Works Board loan agreement for the Old Clifton Intertie design. Mr. Ryan, this is you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. The Old Clifton Road Water System Intertie Project is a multi-year effort to improve water system reliability and lessen the city's dependence on neighboring water providers. In 2025, the city completed an RFQ process and selected Conser North America to design the project, advancing the design to about 60%, now proceeding to 100%. To finalize the permitting and complete the 100% design, bid-ready plans, and the city executed contract number 1 with Conser in 2026, the Washington State Public Works Board has awarded the city an additional $650,000 loan to support the final design phase. This loan carries a 5-year term at a 1.06% interest rate and was approved on May 15, 2026, which is also the earliest reimbursement date that we can retroactively charge to. Thank you.
Motion. Councilor Diener.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the Washington State Public Works Board loan agreement and accept $650,000 in funding for the Old Clifton Road Water System Intertie project.
second.
Motion by Councilor Diener, second by Councilmember Morrissey. You have any questions for Mr. Ryan? I think we're all very familiar with this project, and we need to get designed and to construction as quickly as we can to intertie our 2 water systems. Councilor Dedman, I see your hand raised. What's your question?
Yes, I know that we haven't been able to meet for the last couple of times, but there was questions around the intertie, especially, okay, so one of the questions was whether, that I had was around the design. And so we were going to study a little bit more about what the impact of fluoridation was, because McCormick Woods isn't currently fluoridated under the current system, but it was unclear whether or not it would become fluoridated under the intertie. So we wanted to, we're going to study that more to understand that, and then understand the cost of the fluoridation. And so kind of having a better understanding of where this, like where the 650,000 is coming from, because we still don't have like enough understanding about the designs. So is there any way that to get more information around that? Because it seems to me that we're still moving forward when there was like a lot of questions. So I guess where does the 650,000 come from?
The 650,000 is a loan that we've obtained to complete the design of the intertie project. The fluoridation issue is a separate issue from the intertie, but once after the design and we construct the intertie, you are correct that the McCormick system is not fluoridated because of our system is connected in that area with the city of Bremerton, and they do not fluoridate their water. So that water out there cannot be fluoridated because of our agreement with the city of Bremerton. Our current ordinances in the city of Port Orchard require that we fluoridate our water, and so the water system on this side of, in the older part of the city is fluoridated. You are correct that once we construct this intertie, we will need to do outreach and make a decision as a community whether or not our water will be fluoridated, because they will at that time be one system and not 2 separate systems. So hopefully that answered your question. Councilor Dedman, do you have another question?
Sorry, just to clarify, so would the design already include the equipment necessary to fluoridate?
The system to
Is that what the plan will
fluoridate has nothing to do with the Intertie project. The fluoridation happens at our well sites, not in this pipe that connects the two systems. Those systems already exist.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Are we prepared to vote? We'll be voting on a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a Public Works Board loan agreement for the Old Clifton Intertie Design Project. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes unanimously. We are to item B, adoption of a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an interlocal agreement with Kitsap County for emergency fueling. Mr. Ryan, this is you again.
I think we have two council members that are stepping out for.
Oh, there's that. So I forget about that issue. I apologize, gentlemen. Yeah. So Councilmember Diener and Councilmember Warden both work for Kitsap County, so they're stepping out of the room to recuse himself from the vote on this issue. So, Mr. Ryan, this is you.
Thank you. The county's Department of Emergency Management maintains a generator refueling plan to keep critical facilities operating during major emergencies. Kitsap Transit supports this plan by providing fuel trucks to deliver diesel to registered life safety facilities when normal power is unavailable. The proposed addendum adds the city of Port Orchard to existing interlocal agreement between Kitsap County and Kitsap Transit, so city-owned generators can receive emergency fuel when needed. The addendum outlines how refueling is activated, the roles of Department of Emergency Management and Kitsap Transit, and the requirements for participating facilities. It also includes the standard forms used during the declared emergencies. And just to recap, this was 2 years ago. We had that significant weather event, where we were without power up to, I believe it was 2 to 3 days, and we were fueling with 20-gallon support tanks. Fuel stations in town were running out of fuel, so our ability got threatened to keep that service going. So that is why this interlocal is before you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Trenary.
Yeah, I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an interlocal agreement with Kitsap County Department of Emergency Management and Kitsap Transit for emergency fueling support.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Trenary, second by Councilmember Rosa Pepe. Are there any questions for Mr. Ryan on this subject? Not seeing any. All right, you'll be voting on the adoption of a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an interlocal agreement with Kitsap County for emergency fueling. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed?
Aye.
You voting in dissent or for?
Aye.
You by voting aye, in favor. Thank you for that clarification. All right, that passes unanimously. And if you could go get our other esteemed council members. I lost the cap to my pen's under your foot.
Throwing stuff around.
I know. Slipped off. Thank you. Welcome back. All right, we're on to item C, amendment number 21 to contract number C066-20 for the Community Event Center. Mr. Bond, this is you.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Rice Fergus Miller has submitted a request for contract amendment number 21 to contract C66-20 for the Port Orchard Community Event Center, Orchard Plaza, and Shoreline Improvement Project. The amendment is necessary due to schedule extensions in the construction documents phase and permitting phase, originally assumed to conclude in early 2026. Continued coordination, permit review responses, and jurisdictional review requirements have caused the design team and subconsultants to incur additional effort beyond the existing contracted scope. The extension covers continued responses to the city's permit review comments, constructability review comments, coordination with outside agencies including PSE, Kitsap Health District, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, as well as additional meetings required to advance the projects to bid-ready documents. Amendment 21 includes additional work by Rice Fergus Miller and all associated engineering and design consultants. Major tasks include additional coordination and response to the city's permit for the project for the CEC Orchard Plaza and Shoreline, coordination related to the Bay Street work and fuel tank lid revisions, expanded meetings and interdisciplinary review across civil, structural, MEP, landscape architecture, signage, and building envelope consultants, and preparation of refined bid-ready design documents. All exclusions from the prior contract amendments remain in effect, and Amendment 21 does not include work related to bidding or construction administration, except where noted by specific consultants under separate future amendments. The staff recommendation is to approve Contract Amendment 21 to Contract 66-20 in the amount of $297,453, plus reimbursables and tax, allowing the design team to complete the project-related tasks and finalize bid-ready documents for the Community Event Center, Orchard Plaza, and Shoreline improvements.
Councilmember Warden.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Contract Amendment 21 to the Community Event Center design contract in the amount of $297,453 as presented.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Warden, a second by Councilmember Diener. Any questions for Mr. Bond? Go ahead, Councilmember Rosebaby.
No, we had a email questioning whether we could postpone this or not, and I responded that basically we've seen when items or design work gets postponed or projects get postponed that the cost only increase. So I'm strongly in favor of this. I obviously don't like spending additional money when we don't have to, but we know that we need to get this project on the road and shovel ready. So I'm in favor of allocating the funds for this, and I'm sure that the Finance Committee's looked at this too.
Councilmember Morrissey.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that this particular motion and what's put in front of us conflates more than one project. And so one of those projects is getting outside funding that is already set. The other we're still working on. I just want to make sure we have nothing that's going to foul up any understanding we have with the PFD or the funding mechanisms that are in place with these changes.
You're spot on, and our finance department is very aware of those. And then we've got another project too with the Orchard Street Plaza. So we've got 3 projects that overlap. They have similar consultants in some capacities, and they are very diligently tracking all of those different requirements, different funding sources. Makes it complicated, but
it does.
But it is important though to have the same designers when you've got 3 projects that touch each other, being done by the same folks, because that's just a recipe for change orders when designer A and designer B didn't communicate properly.
So 2 things I would ask for future reference. I'm going to vote in favor here tonight, but I would like to ask whether it's coming direction from you or at least have Director Crocker and team maybe look at that. It would be nice to be able to have that laid out in future iterations, because we are going to have a little bit of that confluence happen, because all this is going to happen at the same time, so we can know what's being allocated to what. And that I hope somebody's in the background making sure that it's not just somebody checking off a box saying, hey, we did this activity across 3 different projects. It's the same dollar amount for all 3, because we should be getting economies of scale for doing 3 projects at once. And it should work both ways is what I'm trying to say there too. So I would appreciate that in the future so that I can better delineate that for myself.
Yeah, I appreciate the comment, and I can assure you that there's very detailed analysis and cost allocation going for every one of these.
I have seen what Director Crocker and his team do. Just isn't here tonight, so that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, Councilmember Warden.
Yeah, are the shoreline improvements, are those permits already pulled, already accepted, already to have a design?
We applied for core permits 3 years ago. We are told that we are days away from receiving the approval for that. We've resubmitted several times, and we are very close to the finish line.
Once that's approved, we could actually start that process though, after the demolition, correct?
Yeah, it'll be wrapped all into one contract. The shoreline improvements, the demolition of the building and the construction of the new building is
In one process.
in one process.
Right.
But we have to have those permits that you're referring to
Correct.
ahead of time, which Mr. Bond has just said, yeah.
Okay, so you
We've-
applied 3
years in the
ago.
making.
We're about to get it now?
Yes.
That's why I was asking, because I know it obviously takes forever. So, that's all I have.
Okay. Councilmember Dedman, I see your hand raised.
Thank you. It's my understanding that the work isn't so much design as additional work that needs to be done because of the delay of the building, the construction. And as to that, it states in the amendment, whereas in July 2026, the city identified the need for additional services for continued responses to city permit review comments, constructability review comments, coordination with outside agencies, PSE, Kitsap Health District, which are PSE, Kitsap Health District, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and additional meetings required to advance the projects to bid-ready documents, and consultant and city agreed to terms for modification. So I guess I'm having, I would love to see more, I guess in the future, I guess somebody else mentioned this, why it's so necessary to have more documentation about what that breakout looks like, about what, especially when it's such a high dollar amount, $300,000, we'd like to see what exactly we're paying for. And with that said, there's the second item we're going to deal with, but the question here is why are they pulled apart? So why, out of the 300,000, the next 45,000 we're going to ask for, why weren't those put into one contract amendment?
So to your first statement, I think it was similar to what Councilmember Morrissey suggested. He'd like to see more detail in what we bring forward, and we'll strive to do so. Mr. Bond, is there a reason why 21 and 23 weren't combined into one action?
Well, I think it has to do with funding sources, but it also has to do with the project scope. The Amendment 23 has to do with making improvements to an adjacent property that we are affecting through the construction of our project that was outside of the original project geographic scope. And so it's being funded separately from separate funding sources compared to Amendment 21 and 22, which 22 was not on tonight's agenda because we're still working to refine that scope with Public Works. But yeah, it has to do with funding and just the scope documents in terms of what's included in those documents. Amendment 23 was off-site and was dealing with just a whole separate set of issues.
Yeah, since Nick picked that scab, 22 we've set aside for right now. It has to do with the pumps that we're gonna, or the pipes and the pumps to deal with rainwater and down in that area. So we've got a vault and plumbing, and right now it's designed that we have a mobile pump unit that we bring down and hook up during storm events. And it's being contemplated whether or not those pumps go in a vault and are just there all the time. There's maintenance considerations, so we're not ready to make, Public Works and the engineering team aren't ready to make that decision yet. One other, and I hope it doesn't turn into change order, remember the bank was going to build a building, and we had have an agreement with them that they were going to do the frontage improvements in their building, because the last thing we wanted to do was put a new sidewalk in and have them tear it all out. Now we know that the bank's building isn't going forward. We need to build a sidewalk there. So we think it's pretty minor. Hopefully it doesn't result in a change order, but it's possible there could be a small change order coming forward in the future, because we know we need to build sidewalks in front of on Bay Street in front of the bank's property. So, Councilmember?
One more question. With the shoreline, with raising the road, we're obviously putting in a new outfall?
No.
We're using existing outfalls.
Existing outfalls? Okay. No questions.
All right. Seeing no more questions, you'll be voting on amendment number 21 to contract number C066-20 for the Community Event Center. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed?
Opposed?
All right, that passes 5-1. We are to amendment number 23 to contract number C066-20, the Community Event Center. Mr. Bond, this is you.
Right, Rice Fergus Miller has submitted a contract amendment number 23 to contract 66-20, requesting authorization in the amount of $44,942 to add civil engineering design work for the existing 7-Eleven site located on Port Street. This work is required to coordinate site grades, access, and stormwater functions between the 7-Eleven property and the adjacent Community Event Center project, including coordination with the planned improvements along Port Street and Bay Street. The city requested that KPFF, RFM's civil engineering consultant, develop construction-level documentation for the 7-Eleven parking lot based on a prior 30% design concept. This work includes updating permit documents, integrating the parking lot regrade into the CEC land disturbing activity permit, coordinating with the SR 166 design team, preparing multiple rounds of vehicle turning studies, and producing full demolition, grading, drainage, and paving plans. The amendment also includes the structural engineering for a retaining wall along the western property edge and the architectural coordination related to waterproofing transitions to the existing building. All landscaping, architectural, structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing design are excluded from the amendment, along with exclusions from previous contract amendments. The work will proceed independently from the ongoing CEC, Orchard Plaza, and Shoreline design phases. The staff recommendation is to approve Amendment 23 to Contract 66-20 and the amount of $44,942 plus reimbursable expenses and applicable taxes.
Morrissey.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve Contract Amendment 23 to Contract C066-20 for the Community Events Center Design Contract in the amount of $44,942 as presented.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Morrissey, a second by Councilmember Rosa Pepe. Any questions on this one? All right. Okay, Councilmember Trenary, go ahead.
Mr. Bond, in your opinion, does this amendment here put a wrap on this portion of the construction project, or of the, not the construction project, but on the engineering and design project for this portion of this?
Barring any unforeseen permit review comments, we've done a first round of review and they're working to make those corrections. If something new were to be uncovered in a subsequent round of review, which is not typical or not expected, it is possible that that would be extra design work. But as long as any subsequent rounds of review are minor comments and easy changes, this should be everything with the exception of the Kraken sculpture, which I think there could still be some additional design costs to complete.
All right, thank you.
Further questions? All right, you'll be voting on amendment number 23 to contract number C066-20 for the Community Event Center. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Is anyone opposed?
Aye.
All right, this passes 5-1. All right, we're to our discussion items.
I stated aye.
That was an
Can you
aye?
guys, yeah, can you please?
Okay, so the record reflects that passes unanimously. We get a little bit of a delay here, so I wasn't sure where that landed. So, all right, we're done with our business. We're to our discussion items. The first of which is the council vacancy interview questions. Mr. Morrissey, I think you're going to lead that discussion. I'm going to step away for just a minute and go grab something from my office if you want
Sure, go
to
for
talk to
it.
your fellow council members about this.
I got you covered, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Fellow council members, in front of you is a list of the questions from the 5 topics that we talked about a week ago tonight. So I took my first initial swipe at trying to come up with what we can. I'm not married to anything on this page, team. It was just me getting out and putting some words to a document so that we'd have a starting place to wordsmith this tonight, so that in hopes of moving this along sooner rather than later. And I do have a possible last question we could talk about as well. So I saw Councilmember Rosa Pepe and then I think Councilmember Diener.
John, I think you did a great job taking 10 questions and pulling them down into 5. I usually at this point in time use the question, is there anything I can't live with? And I can live with these. I think they are fairly open-ended. We're going to get some very detailed responses, and since we have only 30 minutes in the interview with possible any follow-up questions, I'm comfortable with these 5 questions. I wouldn't add a 6th.
Councilmember Dean?
So I agree about not adding a 6th, but before I'm in complete agreement, can you remind me what does the presentation format look like? Like, is there an opening opportunity, and how many minutes is that? And because I'm concerned about time in a half hour. And so that's why I'm not necessarily in favor of a 6, but if there's other things that this applicant will be speaking to, like who they are, and, you know, that'll chew away some of the available time. So I'm trying to recall what that looked like.
I don't believe we set anything in stone at this point, because we were trying to get to how many and what those questions might look like, and ran out of that time last week. So,
Yeah.
so I think let's finish the conversation around the questions, and then we'll go to that structure to be able to finalize that, if that's
Yeah,
okay.
So to get I'm in agreement with Jay.
Okay.
I can live with these. I think you did a good job. I don't have any changes.
Perfect. Councilmember Trenary.
Councilmember Morrissey, thank you for putting these together. They look fine to me, and as long as we're all on board with asking the same questions of every candidate, we're good to go.
Councilmember Warden.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of giving you too much credit, but good job. Appreciate your efforts.
Nice.
So I'm fine with all 5 questions as well. Thank you.
Perfect. So just for humoring me's sake, I'm just going to throw out this 6th one. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for the help. I'm not used to looking at the screen. Councilmember Dedman.
The public might be a little bit confused because in the the agenda online, there are no attached questions under this item.
Correct.
And my second comment would be that it would be nice to have included a question to the candidates as to if they are aware that they might be subject to litigation because they would be filling a vacancy that is being disputed.
Okay. Thank you for that. So the last question I was looking at possibly toying with and adding to this, I didn't, so I just wrote it down so that we didn't have it out there, but I brought it with me just in case, was council members regularly work with colleagues who hold different viewpoints and must make decisions based on incomplete information. How do you approach collaboration, respectful disagreement, and ultimately reaching a decision? So I would also echo the comments of the rest of you. We're going to run into some time constraints, but I just wanted to throw that out there just as something I thought about post facto and would bring up, but I'm happy to move forward with the 5 if that's the concurrence that we have right here.
Just move together with the 5 would be my recommendation.
Okay,
Agreed.
I'm seeing head nods.
I agree. If we had more time, I think that's a great question as well.
Perfect. Okay, we have our 5 questions. The last piece of that puzzle is the actual layout and design of what we want this to look like. So do we want to allow for an introduction period? I think you're getting a good chunk of what we're looking for in those questions, but again, this is a team effort sport here. So Councilmember Rosa Pepe.
You know, basically what I've seen in interviews is there's an opening statement by the person, pretty much limited to 2 minutes, and then there's a wrap-up comment by the person at the end, and each of those are like 2 minutes, so we're down to 25 minutes with 5 questions, and that's the way I would do it. If they have any material that they want to pass to the committee, I've seen that before. That would be given to for us to preview later. I mean, they've given us their essentially resume, so I think we'll be fine with that. That's my take.
Okay.
I've got a question.
Would you like? Can I hand this back off? Are you going to?
No, either way.
Okay.
You're doing just fine.
Okay,
Because
all
this
right,
is
then
your
I'm gonna
process.
then I'm gonna keep moving. I'm gonna go to Councilmember Warren, and then I'll come to Councilmember Dean.
So I'm supportive of what Jay says. We really don't have much time to play around with, so I support the brief introduction up front, the closing statement, 5 questions. I will want to talk about how we grade these applicants as well.
Okay, Councilmember Warden.
Yeah, we have their resumes that they sent to us in the application. we don't need them to spend their time to basically read that off, right? So I'm good with having their resumes and reviewing those beforehand, which we already have. I have. Yeah, and them not using their 30 minutes for that. So.
Councilmember Trenary.
I agree with Councilmember Warden. We know who these folks are. We've got their resumes. We should be educated about it initially. Let's jump right in. Let's give them a little bit of time for closing statements, but let's jump right in and get to the meat of the reason they're there.
Perfect. So I'm hearing, make sure I'm getting a consensus here, a 2-minute opening, a 2-minute closing, and we'll attempt to keep each one of these topics to about a 5-minute period. Is that something we can all agree to?
Up to 2 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
I got a question for you. And
I want to get a head nod there, and then I'll come to you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Is that a no, Councilmember Teneri?
I'm not really keen on a 2-minute orientation or
You're
letting
not.
us know who they are, because we know who they are, as I mentioned already.
I get that. You're not going to get much in that 2 minutes either. As we know, 3 minutes goes quite quickly for most. So I think I'm okay with the 2 minutes. I like to hear what they want to lead with. I can read a lot on that paper, but I think how they summarize that. And for those of us who aren't as great at brevity, it can be a good opportunity to showcase whether or not you have that skill set or not, or maybe you're really verbose, like at least one person up here on this dais, and that would become very apparent. So I think I hear that we're good with 2, and keep it in at 30. So with that, I know it was Mr. Mayor.
I was just going to ask you a question, and I obviously don't participate in this process, but I do some interview panels that I facilitate at AWC, and how we're very firm on your allotted time, and we open with that. We have this many questions and this much time, and if you don't get through all the questions, you don't get through all the questions, or you don't get your closing statements. So something to offer for your consideration, whether you guys are going to be rigid with your time or not. And if you are, I think you should open with that.
With a statement. Yeah, I just took a
note
note
of
for that.
statement.
Yep. Perfect.
To that end, I believe that we should be rigid with our time. It presents equity across the spectrum for everybody.
Concur.
Agreed.
Yes.
That's all I have
We
to
feel
offer.
concurrent on this. We're set. Any other questions on this process? Councilmember Rosa Pepe.
There was a question that came from the dais about how we're going to grade, make notes. What is the follow-on after we interview? I believe, Brandy, we still have 8, correct? Yep, that we have 8 candidates that we're interviewing on the 4th and the 6th. So how do we move, forward with that?
So I believe in my last discussions, we haven't gotten that far because I didn't have a conversation with City Attorney Archer. But I believe after we've completed all of our interviews, the plan was to move into an executive session to discuss that. And then if any action were to arise, we'd come back into a session. We would come back to a session. I don't anticipate that happening on the 4th or the 6th, but I want to double check with City Attorney Archer that I didn't get any of that wrong, because it's been more than a week or so since we've had that conversation.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate it. So yes, you can go into an executive session for the purpose of discussing qualifications. You can do no form of voting, ranking, anything of the nature. You can simply talk about qualifications in an executive session. And then you can come out into open session and do that voting, have the deliberations where you actually rank the candidates or simply vote on a candidate. I want to note that in order to hold the executive session and in order to vote, you will need to notice both of those actions on the meeting agenda. So if you choose to do that at one of the 2 special meetings, we just need to know in advance so Brandy can put that on the agenda. But then for your regular meeting, obviously we can, on the 11th, we can, or your next regular meeting, you can modify the agenda as you need. So you could add those if you so chose in that meeting.
So what I had discussed and as a potential to suggest to this body with City Attorney Archer was that we have both nights completed and that we bring that executive session, because I want you to be able to spend time with that, sit on that, think about that, and then have our executive session on the 11th with action to come out.
In that context, then, you would want that executive session built to the beginning of the meeting?
Correct. Any discussion around that proposal?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. Could we build in a thought process that heading out of the executive session, we are ready to present our top 3 favorites or top 4? Otherwise, I see there's a lot of time spent on perhaps applicants that really we all think are near the bottom.
I'm hoping that we'll be able to gain that sense when discussing in our executive session the qualifications. I would think that in 8, there should be no more than a top 50% that you would want, that we should be able to coalesce around and then take that from there. I don't know that I want to get too in depth on that process, because I think the things that you might value might be different than something Councilmember Rosa Pepe might value.
No, I was talking more internally being prepared to represent your top 3.
Oh, so you're just suggesting, hey, come with a mindset knowing that we're going to need to select.
I think Charlie was pretty clear that we can't do any sort of ranking.
Correct.
So
correct.
Just as a mindset coming out and being prepared to pick your top or talk about your top choices.
Okay. Perfect.
Your normal course of action, we would take and make a motion and a second to have a discussion. In this instance, you may want to deviate from that process and have discussion ahead of any motion that happens.
Okay. Anything else on the process? City Clerk Wallace, would you be so kind as to set those expectations with our candidates ahead of time via email, letting them know the structure? And we may as well, because, well, I guess they're not public because I didn't put them out there yet. We could make them public. Do we want to just let them have the questions ahead of time, or just leave it as is?
For me, For me, these questions, they can answer on the spot.
On the spot. Perfect.
It would have been a couple that Scott had out there last week. I would have said, let's give them some time.
I think they got an idea of at least the topics from
these
last
right
week,
here.
so
These
they
right
just
here.
won't have the actual.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are just going to be asking them to make sure that they're ready for a 2-minute opening statement, a 2-minute closing statement, and there will be 5 questions. If we run out of time, we run out of time.
For each question.
For each question. Yep.
Okay, absolutely.
Just to,
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I know I stepped out of the room for a moment, but didn't you guys discuss each one of these questions? So somebody could watch the video.
No, we didn't read them.
Oh, you didn't read them. Okay.
Yes.
I was
Councilmember Rosa Pepe.
I just want to make sure I have dates and times since I'll be on Zoom. So it's the 4th and the 6th, and I believe we're starting at 5 o'clock Pacific time. Okay. I'll be available.
She put it out on our calendars. I could be wrong. I could have just put that on my personal calendar.
I was just verifying, that's all.
Would you maybe?
If I have not, I will.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Anything else before I put this one to bed and hand this meeting back to our mayor?
From a facilitation standpoint, how do you guys want to conduct those interviews? Are you wanting some tables out here in a more intimate setting? Or are you wanting to sit at the dais and have the candidate stand at the podium?
I'd rather us all be sitting.
Okay, so a work study style meeting with the candidate sitting.
What do you think?
At a head of a table?
I'll just relate that my experience was back here when I was interviewed.
Okay. I don't know that we have all the facilities to do that because it's still a public meeting because we're in a quorum in the back. I don't know that we don't either, but.
We do, but some of you would have your backs to the camera.
I'd appreciate if we'd be in this room.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah.
Back in the old days when you did it, Scott, we didn't have technology like that.
We won't go there, Mr. Mayor. Last question is.
Part of that, Mr. Mayor.
Can we get support from the clerk's office those evenings as well, or
Yeah.
Okay.
She's right there.
Well,
She'll-
I'm just making sure we're running it through the proper procedure, so
Yes.
thank you.
We'll make it happen.
We appreciate
Setting up in a work-study fashion.
office and their support. Hearing that, I'm going to turn this meeting back over to our mayor.
Right, thank you. Our next business item, discussion item, I don't think we're going to finish this evening.
No.
Is there amount of time you want to spend on it, or you want to move it to last and then devote it? How do you guys want to do this?
I would like to move it at last, then when we can set a time, whether it's 10 or 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't expect going too long. We got through 10 pages last time, so if we get through another, 5 to 10 pages, we're ahead of the game. Brandy and I are kind of putting together a red line version, so as we go, so we'll be able to bring everything to you as we go. So just hang in there, and we'll move it to the end of the meeting if that's okay with everybody.
Okay, so I'm not sure.
I guess I need to make a motion to do that.
I was going to ask the city attorney that very question, and I'm eyeballing like after the director's reports, then that we would
let people. How about after the citizen comment?
Maybe citizens want to comment on what you discussed. I mean, so Ms. Archer, can we informally amend this agenda and move that discussion item later, or should there be a motion to formalize that process?
Let's go through the mechanics of a motion.
Okay, Councilmember Rose Pepe?
Mayor, I would move to move the discussion item, committee council rules to after citizens comment.
After 11.
Okay.
After 11.
After 11, I'm sorry, department directors.
Director's reports. Okay?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Rose Pepe, second by Councilmember Terneri, to take the ad hoc committee council rules draft discussion to after item 11, department director reports. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Was that voting opposed?
Oh, she's for it.
It was an aye, okay. All right, so that passes unanimously. Mr. Ryan is going to talk about water consumption. We had some concerning activity when we had the 97-degree heat. So, Mr. Ryan, go ahead.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor. I'll try to be brief. I know it's a big agenda. So last week we got our first warm day. We encountered numbers that aren't typical. If that trend would have lasted multiple days, it would have been very troublesome. So just to give you some quick stats, McCormick, we have two water systems as we talked earlier. The McCormick water system was hitting about 1.5 million gallons a day, and the city water system peaked at 1.1 million gallons a day. So Monday, McCormick was 1.5. The city system was about 950,000. The next day, McCormick was really close to the same 1.5, and then the city system went up to 1.1. So a little bit of a raise there. So at one point, we saw the McCormick system just in the morning hours, it was pumping 1,700 gallons per minute. So our reservoir was dropping. We lost pressure, not significantly. It dropped a few feet, so that's equivalent to about 2 pounds per square inch. That 1,700 gallons, that would fill up an Olympic-sized swimming pool in a day. It's a tremendous amount of water. Our well 11 pumps 600 gallons per minute is what we're peaked at. So we were consuming more than we were able to produce. So that's concerning. The large concentrated surge is enough to temporarily drop our system, the PSI, which I mentioned. If the level of demand continued for several days, we would risk being able to keep our reservoirs adequately filled and fire flow. Low reservoir levels directly threaten our ability to maintain reliable service, and most importantly, the fire flow issue. We did do some outreach. We had some meetings right away with the McCormick HOA. It's our largest HOA in town. They were very receptive. We dropped off some informational items on odd even watering. We went out there in person and provided that paperwork. Luckily, they had a HOA board meeting the next day, so that was the topic that they said that they were going to share. We don't have a water supply issue. We don't have a water availability issue. We have a problem with everybody turning on the faucet at the exact same time at high demand times. So
irrigation. It's 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. The system is just being hammered.
So if we can, and I'll get into that about what options we have, but our biggest tool we have is the odd even. If it is the first, third, fifth, seventh day of the month, your address ends on an odd number, those are your days to water. And if the even would be vice versa, that would put us in great shape.
Is this something you're trying to promote citywide?
We are. We're hitting it. Megan is helping us with the social media campaigns. We've been hitting at the farmers market. That's the information. Last year we had some success with the HOA. They're really good to work with. We're going to keep promoting that. Sometimes people just want to keep watering. So it's the next step that I'm just going to run through some things.
I'll point out that some of the automated watering systems go by days of the week instead of dates. And so that's the challenge for people who rely on.
I think more importantly, if everybody's not watering every day of the week, it'll make a difference. And if everybody didn't, I know if you did some of your watering in the evening, maybe after the sunset versus most people are, where we're seeing the biggest draws is at 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. And where we can't keep up.
And you're right, the odd even watering. Another option is that, odd days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we designated days. Some scenarios, there's 7 days in a week. If we could cut irrigation off 1 day a week, we would be even in greater shape. So just want to talk about next steps. If we do get these prolonged heat events, it's happened before, it's going to happen again. Some of our options is to adopt a formal watering schedule ordinance through the municipal code to clearly define allowed days to water in an emergency. Designate violations as civil infraction, enable issuance of warnings and fines. Use a tiered enforcement approach, education first, then warnings, then citations for repeated non-compliance. What I'd like to do and get the nod is that if we get into the situation, we will take folks like our parking enforcement and some of our professional employees, and we'll put them out there in the neighborhoods and try to do education and outreach. I would argue and try to implore you that during a water crisis, education outreach is a higher priority than parking enforcement. So that's a tool that we could potentially use. Treat chronic severe violations as a nuisance issues, allowing shorter code enforcement actions. Require large water users, HOAs, commercial properties to develop compliance plans during high heat events. Implement emergency watering restrictions during drought to system stress periods. Activated by the mayor, the Public Works may do this under an emergency. So this is just a conversation starter. Getting the ordinance out this year is going to be, we're going to be out of summer by the time it probably can happen because we have one meeting next month. So I just wanted to get some direction and let you know how important.
Realistically, we won't have that intertie completed next summer either. So it's best that right now we're in an education mode and the whole HOA has been receptive of it. Just making you guys aware and making the public that's watching this aware that, the governor has declared a drought conditions and
4 years.
4 years in a row. So, and we just need to be mindful of the resource that we have. Councilmember Warden?
Yeah, at my house, just because of the cost of the water, but we actually just cut our irrigation time in half, and it's just as green. I mean, it's just as good, So we were just excessively watering every year. So we just took our timer and cut it in half to see what it would do, and I probably could go even lower, than what I do. But it's working just great, just fine. The consecutive McCormick makes all the sense with the irrigation systems, But so I probably encourage lowering your usage, lowering your timer. If you're 8 minutes, go down to 5. There's things that you can do besides every other day as well, just to get some not compliance, but just some buy-in,
I think if everybody did whether it's that or every other day or somehow tried to conserve some, it would definitely help. So, Councilmember Diener?
So I think I'm stating the obvious that before we station staff out in communities, I would make sure we've explored all of our options, including what technology can afford to us and getting the word out before we start putting bodies out in neighborhoods.
Remember, with our more advanced meters, we're going to know which
sure.
households. So it might be a letter, it might be, a conversation. We want to be, respectful and, you know, don't want to be heavy-handed in this, but we need everybody's help, or otherwise we're going to have a crisis, and we don't want to have a crisis.
Yeah, I'll just add that I'm sure there are innovative solutions across the nation. So, you know, this is not new.
Or do you have something? No? All right.
Mayor?
Yes.
Just one last thing, a future ordinance that would promote conservation that the council would adopt, that is a big piece of Foster. Conservation is a large piece of the Foster decision. I attended a roundtable with the governor's office and Department of Ecology a few weeks ago. Conservation is the first line of defense.
Councilor Deere?
Did they talk about what that conservation looked like?
It's just reducing waste reduction, turning the faucet off when you're brushing your teeth. Just every little thing adds up.
Thank you.
Councilor, go ahead.
Director Ryan, did you happen to take the opportunity to talk to any of the other HOAs? I know my particular HOA, well, I'm not in the big McCormick HOA, I'm in Meadows HOA. I know we're on City of Bremerton water, so it doesn't necessarily impact our system for the city, but are you reaching out to others? Because I know that I, for instance, voluntarily waited way too long to get my irrigation set up on the year just to try and conserve the water knowing going into that. I'm trying to fight that back and bring it back to life, but I think I've lost a portion of my lawn. I know our HOA is trying to be lenient about that. I'm hoping that others throughout the city are as well, because many of us have mandates on how we have to keep that grass looking, and so they're caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, and to your, well, the Bremerton system, you are on Bremerton system. Currently, we're a combined system, and the pipe, we're producing some of our water, we're getting water from Bremerton, and that pipe getting it from Bremerton is filling your reservoir and our reservoir. So what your HOA is doing also impacts. So we should probably be communicating with those other HOAs also, Dennis.
Yeah, that's something. It's a big lift, but we've shifted. You know, not only stormwater attending the last farmers market, but we're also hitting water conservation. We did that last year too. So that's an ever expanding program, and Megan's been a huge help too. And the clerk's office has always been a huge help, but we've got more people. It's helping.
So I'm not sure you understood the question there. There's
Yes.
multiple HOAs in McCormick Woods.
Yes. No, I got you. We talked to the big one.
Okay, so let's make sure we get in touch with the other. There's probably 4 more, I think.
You have the Ridge, you have.
Yeah.
So since we talked about Bremerton, I mean, this is a pretty outstanding tidbit here, but City of Bremerton provided 718,000 gallons, and the city produced 784. So we're getting 50% of the water is supporting from Bremerton.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ryan. Any more questions for Mr. Ryan? I think we beat this horse to death here.
Thank you.
All right, so we've got a discussion item we added, which is the findings of the investigative report, and I will read this into the record. So the mayor's office retained the services of attorney Hillary Evans to investigate the alleged resignation of Councilmember Heidi Fenton during an executive session attended by the quorum of the City Council. In particular, Hillary Evans was asked to review whether and when the purported resignation was legally effective. Hillary Evans is the managing partner of Kenyon Descend PLLC, a law firm in Issaquah. Hillary litigates on behalf of numerous municipal clients and serves as the city attorney for the cities of Oak Harbor, Montlake Terrace, Othello, and Sultan. And she's also the ethics officer for the city of Bellevue. I will now read a summary of the investigation, and the city will publish the entire report tomorrow. So in the investigative summary, Hillary conducted interviews with the following individuals: Councilmember John Morrissey, Councilmember Scott Diener, Councilmember J. Rosa Pepe, Councilmember Eric Warden, Councilmember Mark Terneri, and Heidi Fenton and her attorney. Hillary later received a voicemail from Ms. Fenton as well. The facts at the June 16th, 2026 City Council work study session, the City Council met in an executive session. The executive session was duly noticed and appropriately announced in the work study session. The reason identified for the executive session was RCW 4230.1101I. To discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters related to an agency enforcement action, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or a member acting in an official capacity is or likely to become party when public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in adverse legal or financial consequences to the agency. Based on my discussion with the council members present, I can conclude that the executive session proceeded in a typical fashion in compliance with the provisions and in compliance with the law. At the beginning of the executive session, the following individuals were present. Councilmember Morrissey, Councilmember Diener, Councilmember Dedman, Councilmember Rosa Pepe, Councilmember Warden, Councilmember Trineri, the police chief, the human resource director, and the city attorney. Councilmember Fenton and the mayor remained in the city council chambers during the executive session, or at least the beginning of it. At some point, Councilmember Dedman left the executive session. The police chief and the human resources director also later left the executive session. Councilmember Fenton was invited to join the executive session at some point after those three departures. During the executive session, Councilmember Fenton twice stated, "I resign." The city attorney asked Councilmember for a written resignation by email. The Councilmember Fenton then left the executive session and City Hall. In my discussion with her, Councilmember Fenton affirmed that no statements were made to her regarding whether or not her verbal resignation was effective. While the subject discussed in the executive session prior to the resignation would remain subject to executive session confidentiality, Councilmember Fenton reports that she felt coerced and pressured to resign. She told that other council members present at the time of the resignation said they would initiate an investigation about her, which would be public and could result in legal proceedings. Councilmember Fenton stated she felt only the way to avoid this outcome was to resign. When I questioned the other council members present at the time of the resignation, they uniformly reported no threats or coercion directed at council member. To the contrary, some stated the conversation was respectful and empathetic. The executive session lasted a total of 80 minutes. Following the executive session, the work study session resumed. The 5 remaining council members conducted business, including taking action on agenda items. Councilmember Fenton had left the building and was not in attendance after the work study session resumed. The next day, before noon, Councilmember Fenton emailed the mayor and the city attorney advising she was not resigning. Analysis. Was Councilmember Fenton's verbal resignation effective? 1, was it effective? And 2, if so, when? The first question is whether Councilmember Fenton's resignation was effective, and if so, when it was effective, immediately or some other point. There is no general legal requirement nor any legal requirement to specify to Port Orchard requiring the resignation be written in order to be effective. Thus, it is clear verbal resignation can be valid. Similarly, there are no applicable general or specific legal requirements specifying to whom a council member must submit the resignation. Here, because the resignation was made to a quorum of the city council, the city legislative body, I conclude it was properly submitted. There's case law to support this that will be shared in the published report. I will continue to the conclusion of this section, which Councilmember Fenton twice ambiguously stated her resignation to a quorum of the City Council's governing body. It was made without conditions or qualifiers or any specific subsequent effective date. The City Council resumed its work-study session, continued the meeting, and transacted business without Councilmember Fenton present or participating. Under these circumstances, I conclude that Councilmember Fenton's resignation was effective the moment it was tendered. Item B is a resignation in executive session treated differently. And there's case law, or RCWs cited in this section that I won't read into the record, but I will read while there's a conclusion for this is an ambiguous am I on the right page? No, I skipped.
Yeah,
Conclusion.
that's right.
Yes. I was reading the wrong conclusion. I'm on page 5. Conclusion, the ambiguous verbal resignation by unambiguous, thank you, by one council member in an executive session is effective. Item C, if threats or coercion were present, does that negate resignation? And there's RCW stated to this. I will read the conclusion. Even if Councilmember Fenton felt pressure to resign, her resignation pressure to resign, her immediate resignation remains effective. Does Councilmember, and then item D is, does Councilmember have a right to retract her resignation? The conclusion to this is Councilmember Fenton's email retracting her resignation, which was verbally tendered the day before, does not entitle her to resume her position as a council member. Councilmember Fenton has no legal entitlement to retract a resignation once tendered. So the city will be publishing this full report tomorrow morning, and I will now take us back to the other items on our business. As soon as I find my agenda. All right. Councilor Dedman, go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to state a correction in the investigation. If you read it, it'll say that, I'm sorry, I was trying to look for the exact language. It stated at the beginning,
Specifically?
oh, sorry, it states at the beginning page, Councilmember Shira Dedman was contacted for an interview, but the council member chose not to participate. That is not accurate. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear, that that's not accurate. I would say that it's important to understand that I work at a different time frame than everybody else does for many reasons. But without going into more details, just know that that's not accurate. And then, well, yeah, that's all I'll say on the issue at the moment. Thank you.
I will say that your response wasn't timely, would be a more accurate statement. At the time of the publication of this report, that was not known. I know that the city clerk contacted you twice by telephone and you were not responsive, and 2 emails were written, and no one else had any challenges scheduling your interviews. So it's unfortunate, but when I circled back with the attorney conducting the investigation, she felt because you were not present at the time of the resignation that anything that you would have had to said really wouldn't have been pertinent to the issue at hand. Okay.
Yes, sorry, my hand was up. Sorry, just a quick thing as to that. Unlike I know that I hope that I'm not always compared to what everybody else is capable of and the timing that they're available. We were given 2 days availability over 2 days for what was said to be 15-minute meetings that were going to be held over 2 days. And I apologize that did not meet my availability. And no, I should not be held to everybody else to say it worked for everybody else. It didn't work for me. And I can apologize. Unfortunately, this is a part-time job and I have a lot I have to work for myself. That includes a lot. I have 2 young children and I have childcare issues. So I just wanted to make that clear because you said it worked for everybody else. It didn't work for me, and I, reached out and I had hoped that there would be more availability. But I didn't know it was like those 2 days, get it or lose it because I wasn't available those days. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to committee reports. Economic Development Tourism, I don't believe you've met. The next meeting is scheduled for September 14th. Utilities has not met, and they were scheduled to meet September 8th. Finance Committee did meet last week. Councilmember Trenary, do you have a report?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I do. We reviewed and updated sales tax and REIT revenues. Sales tax increased over this month as compared to last year. The REIT revenue is still down. This is mainly due to a slowdown in development. The important part is that we're still hitting at or above our budgeted numbers that we put together. We reviewed the city's updated funding plan for Bethel Phase 1, which is the Blueberry and Salmonberry improvements. With the award of a grant the city is applying for, the project will be fully funded and on schedule for the original completion dates. That's good news. We discussed a limited funding improvement plan for Van Zee Park that'll improve the safety of the park users. Public Works is looking to a long-term playground improvement plan there as well. Also discussed where the county has an intention of implementing a 0.1% tax increase for criminal justice improvements. And we discussed whether we would want this money to come directly back to the city where we could use it, implement it ourselves, or we wanted to blend it in with the county's money. And the finance department and committee determined that it was best for us to bring it back home, keep it here where we can use it to provide more funds for increased policing. We can always use more police. And so that's what our plan is at this point. But as the mayor learns more about this program, he'll bring more to the table and we'll have further discussions. Finally, we also briefly discussed a real estate property opportunity that the entire council was briefed on later that evening. And our next scheduled meeting is set for September 15th.
If I can add on to that, criminal justice 1/10 councilmatic that the county intends to do. I talked to Commissioner Walters about this today, matter of fact, and I've talked earlier or last week actually with our city attorney. There's 2 different ways the county is going to go about it, and Commissioner Walters wasn't certain which version it was, and that's very important to us because if it's going to be collected in the city of Port Orchard, we want that. So it could. So she agreed that she's going to get me that information fairly soon. They intend to take action before the end of the year, and it could result in us needing to pass our own 1/10 measure within the city of Port Orchard to preempt the county from receiving our taxes in going into the county bucket, and I don't think we would want that. So more to come on that. I don't have all the facts, but I have consulted with our city attorney, asked the questions of the county so that we can make informed decisions. All right, moving on, transportation hasn't met. They're going to meet on September 22nd. Land use hasn't met, and they will be meeting on September 16th. Lodging tax, probably, do you meet this fall?
Oh, yeah, we will.
Okay. All right. We're excited to hear about your process when you kick it off. And sewer advisories.
We have a meeting set for August 11th at 3 p.m. at the Lumsden Building.
Okay. And I have one item. We had the kickoff meeting for the fundraising campaign for the Community Event Center this evening. Meeting was well attended. There was a lot of enthusiasm for the project from the group, and I provided each of you a copy of the campaign materials, and Councilmember Dedman will put that in your mailbox. We're off and running. Our next meeting is scheduled for that group in September, and the consultant is hard at work interviewing individuals out there to determine whether or not a campaign of $4 million is feasible in our community. So more to come on that. Department directors. Mr. Ryan, got anything to share?
Just briefly, I want to follow up on the comment we heard tonight about the safety improvements at Olney, and looking through this communication, it had a boomerang effect, so I need to follow up with the individual, but I will let you know that it has been identified as a priority. We've previously sought funding, and it is on a high priority to continue to seek funding to construct those improvements. So I will follow up with the citizen that made that comment.
Mr. Bond, would it be a land use issue, dangerous animals? I know I've experienced that myself and down in our pathway. I'm not sure what committee should be taking that up and looking at those ordinances, but.
Yeah, I don't think it fits squarely into any committee's scope, so whichever committee wants to work on it.
Which committee wants to take that on? Because it is, I sympathize with the situation. I've experienced it myself, where an aggressive dog isn't controlled and attacks your dog or yourself.
Well, and in this situation, it's a repeat situation in this neighborhood.
Can we get
It's definitely
more
not
information?
finance.
Because I didn't get a sense to where it happened, and or if the chief might have some insight into what was reported and when. I'd be curious.
I can certainly look into that for you and let council know.
Off of Flower Avenue.
I don't mean to volunteer, but I'm going to volunteer land use on this right now, looking at our committee structure right now.
It's not finance.
No.
And it's not economic
transportation,
development, so.
So sorry, Nick.
Yeah, and it's not utilities, so. It's odd man out.
So
So
if we can
September, if you can just,
If we can
Scott,
get
sounds
more
like Scott's got some details. If you could provide those to Mr. Bond or Mr. Fisk, and we can at least begin to look at what our neighbors are doing, if they're doing something different than us. It could be worth looking at.
Yeah, she's actually done a lot of work. She provided Bremerton's code, as well as, their animal ordinance, as well as their infractions code. And it sounds like, I'll send it out.
Yeah, well, you send it to Brandy.
Yeah, of course.
I'd be interested in looking at that.
Yeah,
too.
I would too, because, like she pointed out, it's been 25 years, 26 years, 27 actually, since it's been looked at, so.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, Mr. Bond, I'm sorry, preempted your report.
Is it my turn to report now?
It is now.
All right, I've got a couple of announcements. First of all, we were able to get our Permittable AI pilot program launched at the beginning of July, and so that information has been shared with the Home Builders Association, and it's been live for a little over 2 weeks. I also wanted to report that on Monday we have our Plans Examiner Building Inspector 3 starting, so we were able to hire Roberto Medina. Currently, he's an Inspector 2 with the City of Bremerton, and he's going to be coming to Port Orchard starting on Monday. It is our goal to help continue his education. I think he's real close to being ready to be a building official, and so we're going to help him pursue those certifications and continue to see him develop. I think he's got the right skills to help our department get where it needs to be. Finally, we signed a contract with SmartGov a couple of months ago. I just wanted to report that Lisa Stone, our permit center manager, has been hard at work building out the permit types in SmartGov. I think we have 170 different permit types that have to be built into that permit system, and so we've been tackling about 5 to 10 of those per week, making sure that everything works, and so we're about halfway through the list now, and are on track to try to have that launched this fall so that people can apply online directly through the SmartGov portal, and I'll have more to share on that in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Nick, is the CVO, is that a condition of employment? This new person?
No,
getting
it is
this?
not, you do
Okay.
not have to be a certified building official for the 3 position, but it's something that we're going to pursue. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Chief?
I don't want to jinx myself, but I am happy to say that we had another peace officer start with us yesterday morning. He went through the academy with one of our new hires that graduated in May, and was originally with the city of Seattle, but we were able to scoop him up. He had 17 months before he was scheduled to go on FTO, and he lives out here, so he is happy to join us. So we are at 27 of 28. Bearing in mind we have 3 at the academy, we now have 3 on FTO and 2 on extended medical leave. That being said, we have a light at the end of the tunnel. So again, appreciate the support.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes, I have a couple things for you. So just a reminder, Coffee with Council, I believe, is this Saturday. Yes, okay. And I have Councilmember Warden, Rosa Pepe, and Edmund slated to attend that. So if for some reason somebody cannot attend, if you just let me know, and I can ask the other council members if they wish to attend in your stead. The other thing that I have is actually slated at the Land Use Committee in September. Nick was out of the office, so I coordinated with Jim Fisk that it is the biennial budget process, and so I have invited Animal Control Director to attend that meeting because, as you may recall, during the last budget cycle, they had a significant increase in their insurance premiums, and so we kind of came with the understanding that we're going to speak on that topic. So that was one item that she was going to bring forward. The other one is to align the city of Port Orchard with the other jurisdictions within Kitsap County on how they issue pet licensing. So there was going to be that conversation to see if the council wanted to mirror what other jurisdictions are doing and amend our code. And with your permission, I will also reach out to them to see if they have any suggestions of our codes. I do know they have had quite a bit of turnover in their directors, and at some point they were going to approach the city on some modifications of our code, and they may already have that ready.
I think we're the only jurisdiction that issues pet licenses as well as the Humane Society issue. Everybody else just has them done at the Humane Society. Not sure we will want our finance department issuing pet licenses, but you know, it's a discussion. That's what our code says right now. Councilmember Rose Pepe.
Randy, I was just going to ask, any information we could get before the 11th meeting would be appreciated from the society. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank
She's
you.
shared me something, so I'll reach back out to her and make sure I have the full
Thank
packet
you.
for you. And then lastly, as you may be aware, but due to the numerous public records being requested in relation to the resignation of former Councilmember Fenton, the city will be publishing the responsive records to the city's website as soon as they are ready to be released. And as soon as we launch our new website, we will have the ability to publish all requests as well as the responsive documents, excluding law enforcement records, to the new city's website.
We just felt that versus responding to all of these individuals that have the same request, we're just going to publish all of it for, you know, the general public, and everybody can access it. So, any heartburn with that?
No, but I have a tangential topic.
You want to change the topic?
No, I have a tangential topic because
Fire
I
away.
would like to just put in everybody's mind in the budgeting process that maybe we budget for some phones for council. I spent just a few dollars being able to extract some of the information off my phone for those public records requests, but it'd be a lot easier if Brandy could just do
I
it.
have that as a line item that's going to be presented as my portion of the budget as
Perfect.
well.
Well, I appreciate you taking care of us on your behalf.
That concludes the director's report. Ms. Archer, do you have anything?
Well, that actually stole my thunder. What I was going to report on is the model rules update to the Public Records Act. As you recall, I've been updating you that those model rule public records laws are being updated. One of the issues that the Attorney General's office is grappling with is records on personal devices of elected officials. And the oeuvre from the public hearing that occurred last month is we are likely moving towards mandatory city-issued devices. So I was going to encourage the council to include that as a budget item. Sounds like it's already tracking. So perfect. Thank you.
All right. So we are back to Discussion item B, and does anybody recall what page?
Yes,
we were on?
if I could,
3.10.
if it would be okay to
You may.
run this portion of the meeting?
I'm happy with-
Facilitate it,
You
excuse
may
me.
facilitate all
Okay.
you want.
Is it okay if we go, is it okay if we go till,
I think you had a question before you launched.
I was setting the stage.
Would you like a break?
I would like
Sure.
at
Okay.
least a 3-minute.
Okay.
Got a quick break?
Quick break.
And then
What page are we on?
we are on page 11, 3.10, virtual attendance. See, Scott, I told you January 1st would be a good. You laughed at me. Just joking.
Yeah, it's a long haul.
It's moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Hey, Nick. Are you guys using E360?
For code?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It went live for you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. What do you think?
It's a little cumbersome to use.
Yeah.
The graphics are a lot better.
Yeah. For me, it's unfortunate that the tables don't fall into code where they should. And they're referenced as attachments. So we can't access our tables right under the code that speaks to them. We've got to go to another page, and then they only pull up as PDFs.
I don't think that's how ours is set up.
Okay. That's the premium version, and I'm not sure it's...
Yeah, I think it's one of the ability to have the better graphics.
Huh. I'll toy around with yours, see how it's different.
I haven't looked at it a whole lot lately. I just know that it changed, and I remember that part of it had to do with accessibility.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys have my comments on.
We ready to go? All right.
Okay, if I could ask everybody to, could we go till 8:30? Would that be okay with everybody?
Sure.
Okay, so we stopped at page 11, 310, virtual remote attendance. Does anybody have anything they would like to do on that? We do have at the second paragraph, may not exceed a total of 4 meetings per year. So even though there's not there. So I'm open to any suggestions on this.
Yeah, I want to make sure that we're asking to notify.
At page 11.
It says council president. I would
Yes.
ask that to reflect mayor, city clerk.
Okay.
And/or
So that's
council
what
president.
I'm sorry, what paragraph?
Second paragraph.
Okay, Ms. Notify, okay, council, you want change that to mayor?
The mayor,
Me and the
city clerk.
City clerk and the mayor.
Well,
Yep, yeah, got it. Okay,
It's helpful if we're both notified, because one of us could be out of the office.
Right.
And then
Yep.
if we're both notified, then it's more apt that one of us definitely got the message.
that's fine. I don't have a problem.
I don't know, I find that first paragraph pretty ambiguous and not very clear to me, but it's your guys' attendance policy. I'm not gonna.
Is this something that we want to take a look at shortening, or, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know what it reads today. My understanding is today is
4 meetings.
we have 4 meetings.
You can do it
of
4 times.
Unexcused.
You can just attend virtually 4 times a year if you need to.
Let's just flag this for rewrite.
You want to rewrite?
But it sounds like if one of us find it's ambiguous, then certainly
Okay.
the public might.
Okay, I'll put that down as a rewrite
And shorten.
and shorten, okay? We can do that. Okay? And role and equipment requirements, not sure if we need the equipment requirements. We do have a item on there, I think that's worth doing, is councilmember backgrounds be blurred or feature an official photograph of the city of Port Orchard.
And I don't believe there was any mention that you have to have your video, the cameras on.
Okay.
I think that should be added.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then your top sentence on page 12 has "to be able" twice.
Okay, I'm sorry, say that again.
Must be able, to be able?
Oh, yeah, I didn't get that.
You guys aren't sticking around?
They're not too concerned
Thank
about
you
your
all.
rules.
No.
Yes. Okay, so, equipment requirements, oh yeah, that would be fine. We had a change, take out the duplicate, and we wanted to add video camera on. All right? All right. D, presiding officer. Go ahead, Mark.
Can I step back a little bit?
Sure.
I have a little bit of concern about the last sentence in item C. Councilmember backgrounds will be blurred or feature unofficial photo of the city of Port Orchard.
Right.
Could we designate what an official photo of the city of Port Orchard is? Many of us have photos of Sinclair Inlet or the marinas.
No,
things of this-
good
this
point.
nature.
I think it would have to be from the city's, I don't know, I'm not sure the right word, stock or,
Yeah, stock and branded.
I think Megan could probably help out with that. Maybe there's a couple
How
options.
about it says city supplied background?
Yeah, I mean, if you have pictures you like, send them into the city and ask that they be
Megan can
considered.
make it a background if you'd like.
okay, all right?
Maybe we'll have 2 or 3 options for your
No, I-
consideration
yeah,
when
I
we
like
bring it
that,
back.
yeah.
Yep, okay, we'll work on that one sentence, but we got that. Presiding officer, difference between a virtual, in other words, saying that the presiding officer really has to be here in chambers. That's the bottom line.
Yes.
Okay, everybody okay with that one? Yep. Okay. Okay, meeting requirements and procedures, go ahead.
Jay, would it be quicker if you just said, anybody have any changes beginning on page 12?
Okay, that's fine, yeah,
That's what
I
we
think
did
so.
before.
Yep, thank you. Anybody have any changes for the remainder of page 12? Go ahead, Mark. Please be specific.
Not necessarily changes, but I'd like to define professional attire. Last sentence, under dress code, 3-11, council members are expected to wear professional attire. What exactly in today's world is professional attire? Used to be suit, coat, tie, slacks, and a jacket. It's not any longer.
I think HR could help you with that.
Yeah.
Business casual is, I think, the term.
Okay.
That's where I went, was business
tank tops?
casual.
Okay, I'll check with HR on that. The last 2 sentences have been concerns expressed before, and I think they're still legitimate. Anybody doesn't have any problem with that at the top of page 13? Sorry, need to be specific. Okay, everybody good with those?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, council meetings on the rest of page 13. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, so right in section 4, paragraph 3, to allow for summer and winter break, the city council shall not hold. I would like that to say it shall be customary to not hold. I do not want future councils to
I got
have.
it.
You got something better?
Yeah, I don't think you need that paragraph. You adopt an agenda every year at the beginning of the year.
That's in sentence, that's in the
Yeah,
first
that's all you
paragraph.
need to do. It doesn't,
Okay,
I mean, you could, council's practice, maybe Yeah, I
Stop,
don't think.
just take it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
You guys pass your agenda.
Yeah,
If you want a
okay.
summer break and a winter break, you'll get
So
it.
let's keep that first paragraph and eliminate second and third paragraph under regular meetings, okay?
Yep, I had that highlighted too.
Thank you.
And then again, on B,
Yep.
you just started with, "It shall be customary."
It shall be customary that.
Regular council work-study meetings at 6:30 on the third Tuesday. We don't have to box in that it's always a work-study on a third Tuesday.
I don't even know that.
I don't know that we do either, now that you're saying some of those things, but I'm just saying, if you're gonna put that in there, I'd rather it be, "It shall be customary," rather than not.
Could we?
Miss Archer?
Go ahead, Miss Archer.
Thank you. I just want to confirm that the council has always treated its work study meetings as regular meetings, and in doing so, you establish them as a schedule at the beginning of the year or in some form of legislation. So it will need to be written down somewhere if you want those work studies to be considered regular, not special meetings, which is important because you can't modify the agenda for special meetings, but you can for regular meetings.
So in essence, can we combine, when we have meeting types, combine regular meetings and work studies? Because work study, in other words, that's our schedule at the beginning of the year that we set.
I would strike B also.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And just,
Say-
you're setting a schedule and what the intent of those meetings, all of them are considered business meetings. We just, our practice is the third meeting, or the third Tuesday of the month, we sit in a different form.
Okay, so we'll do that, combine the A and B.
Yeah.
And without, by, basically, we set the agenda. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Special meetings. Everybody okay with that language? Okay, I put in town halls, so if you turn to page 14, we have town halls, emergency meetings, cancellation and adjournments. Go ahead, Mark.
I'd like to modify city council will hold to may hold.
Okay?
The first paragraph?
Yep.
Yes.
First paragraph on page 14.
I'm down with that one.
Okay.
Section E.
Anything else? I'm sorry, anything else with D? The first paragraph on the page. Okay? Okay, E, thank you. Thank you for reading.
Yep, no, absolutely. I just had, in my notes on the side, is legal risk included in this? Is this read the way we want it to for legal risk?
Charlotte?
I apologize. Which section are you referring
It's
to?
emergency meetings.
Oh. Legal risk is not a valid basis for an emergency meeting. It has to be one that,
Perfect.
sorry.
Thank you.
I
That
understand.
was
Yes.
my question.
Okay, so you're okay where
I'm
we're
good.
at?
Yep.
Okay,
So, just
go ahead.
If we could change the second part, or the second line where it says is called to deal with, maybe called to address an emergency instead of deal with.
Okay. I can live with that. All right. Anything else on E? Okay, F, cancellation and adjournments.
Or how about anything else on page 14?
Anything else on page 14? Should be running the meeting, darn it. Anything else on page 14? I'm looking, going once, going twice. Okay, we got duties of presiding officer, so we go over to 15. Is there anything on page 15? I have a comment down under agenda preparation.
I do too.
Okay, so anything to do with presiding officer, 4.03, all the way down to page 15?
Can I give you guys a high-level overview of what an agenda process looks like? Because I think it can help inform this.
Is there
discussion.
anything else on 4.03? Okay, great. We can go to 4.04, and you're up first, Mayor.
Okay. This is pretty rigid, and it's formal. And our agenda-setting process isn't formal, and it's very fluid. So tomorrow morning, we have, myself and all the managers have a meeting, and we have a 6 to 8 week outlook, okay? And things are just depending on if there's many times it's you guys are driving the policy stuff. That's coming from your guys' committees, work studies or your committees. The other items are, you know, contract approvals. You know, you guys, you know what your typical agenda looks like, okay? And whether they're on the next council meeting or 3 weeks out, I can assure you tomorrow morning, we have a massive meeting scheduled in 2 weeks. Not all of it's gonna get to the finish line, because we're waiting on legal review, we're waiting, there's bits and pieces that, for a complete package, you know, for that to happen. So next week, we will, or excuse me, the Wednesday before the, and so there's constantly, well, I'm looking at it, the clerk's looking at it, everybody's working on their bits and pieces, and then the Wednesday before your guys' agenda is published, a draft agenda comes out, okay? And that's a logical moment, if you guys want the mayor pro tem to see that we provide or share that draft agenda for you guys, for, well, why, you know, why isn't blah, 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 you know, on the agenda? And I can answer that question, or the clerk can answer that question, you know, why that issue that was at the work study that you guys wanted it on, you know, as quick as we could, because there could be there's reasons why those things haven't gotten there yet. And then by Friday, midday, we're wanting to get you guys this agenda, and we're you know, we cut it off, and anything that's not done, unfortunately, gets punted, you know, so even Wednesday's agenda may not be Friday's agenda, because not everything got to the finish line. So it's a very fluid process. I don't have any problem at all sharing it, but adding another, I don't approve the agenda at any point. I'm constantly reviewing it with staff and providing input to it, and I don't have a problem sharing it at all. But adding, we struggle to get to the finish line, and what I don't want to see is a scenario where we're not getting you your agendas on Friday, or we're pulling business items off because we can't get a formal approval. So that's my concern.
All right, can I go ahead and, based on the information you just said, or a way to say it, work on rewriting this to make it a little bit more fluid's not the right word, but a little bit less formal.
Less formal.
Would that be okay with everybody if I start this and then look at that?
Yeah.
The only thing I had to change in here, I mean, besides the comments that people are making right now, and sure, I'll get right back to you in a second, was in discussion with Brandy, that the request was that we'd have a lot less changes if we still hung to the Friday issuing of the packet. Try and do that on Thursday, even though that was a request. It's not a realistic.
It's not realistic at all.
And it would cause us more. Cheryl, go ahead, please, with your comment. Shira, sorry, thank you. Shira?
You're muted. Guy did too many things. Got to lower my hand. And anyway, I'm trying to wrap my head around a little bit about. I know like that so many emails go around because we don't want to accidentally like violate like quorum, essentially, like you know, like OPMA laws and stuff. And so I'm trying to have a better understanding of like a process of getting agenda items on that creates it so it can be like more equitable, less bureaucratic, but not and not kind of having to centralize, because it feels like centralizing opens that up. So I don't know, I'm trying to understand that a little bit more. So I haven't quite fully wrapped my head around that, because I know that it's something that came up before, was like, okay, there's different ways of getting something on the agenda right now. Like like presenting it to the mayor or presenting it in a committee member or presenting it in committee, or I guess I'm still not clear on what other ways like would be available that, like I said, are I guess seem more like equitable and like I said, don't violate like OPMA laws.
Well, hold that thought, and as we go through the rest of the document, we'll probably take a look at that. I'm out of time, and I'll ask that we bring this back next work study.
And to answer
Yep, go
Councilmember
ahead.
Dedson's question, that's defined, and it may you need. I'm not sure that this list is complete at 4.14. New business requests is defined in here. We just haven't gotten that far.
It helps. We haven't got that far. So,
Yep.
all right. Thank you for your time, and we'll be back at the work study. Hopefully, be able to get this through. So we can get another draft out to everybody. I will let you know that Charlie had a lot of comments regarding the packet of ethics that we sent out to everybody. Charlie provided 2 more samples. I will get those to you, and so we can take a look at that, since that would be an addendum to our rules and policies. And thank you very much for your time, and have a great evening.
Okay,
Back to you, Mayor.
All right. At this point, we're going to go to our second citizen comment period. Is anyone wishing to address the council? You have 3 minutes. Please identify yourself for the record.
Good evening, City Council. Robert Parker. I come before the city on a couple of reasons. One, I'd kind of like to know why the city doesn't answer their phone. Last Wednesday, I called at 10:30 a.m. I was put in the queue because nobody picked up the phone. I hit pound key like normal, and I'm on the general administration number, the main city number. I stayed in the queue 12 times deep. Nobody ever answered the phone. Called back at 2:30. Got the same thing. Nobody answers the phone. I stayed in the queue for 16 forwards. Nobody got it. Posted it on Facebook. Next morning, they were answering the phone. And I find that, a little funny. But then when they did answer the phone, I was trying to get the city clerk on some business I had with her. And I got her voicemail. And that was on Thursday. I didn't get a call back until Monday. How many days does it take to get a hold of the city, and who are you serving? It's obviously not us, because you won't even answer the phone. And that's multiple times. And then just to get dumped into a voicemail that they'll call you back in a couple of days. I think the citizens are more important than that. It should not take from Wednesday to Monday to have somebody with a live body respond to a citizen. I think that's outrageous. I read the after-action report on the parade thing. I noticed how they added in running Ms. Fenton underneath the bus in the final. Wasn't there in the draft, but boy, they sure got it in there on the final. How many more documents are we building as we go along after the event? So I'm a little shaken in my trust for this city. I've watched this clown show going for weeks now. How much money have we dumped down the toilet with this? It's not good for the citizens. It's not good for this council. It's not good for any of you council persons. So I wanted to come before you and tell you exactly that. The city needs to start getting responsive and responsive to the citizens, not just the staff. You are here to serve the citizens, not the staff. This whole thing's goal is to serve the citizens, not the staff. That's why they're employed, to serve us. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. All right. Anyone online, Brandy? Anyone else wishing to address the council? Go ahead, sir.
Hi, my name is Devin Tenney. I just wanted to quickly address a statement made a few minutes ago during the council committee reports. The quote that I wrote down was, "We can always use more police." I think I'd like to invite the city council to challenge that line of thinking in the way that we apply finances and resources. I think there's a strong tendency across the board in the nation, everywhere you find, to lean towards, oh, enforcement's the answer. We can just allocate these resources to the police. They become kind of the hammer, and then you've only got the one tool, and then that becomes the tool for everything, and then you end up with poor outcomes. So just to challenge such a statement, and just to leave you with that thought to adjust that line of thinking. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone online wishing to address the council? Or to go to the order? Does anybody have a go to the order? Councilmember Dedman, go ahead.
So we had a really good meeting at the Givens Master Plan this past Thursday. So I wanted to thank Director, so Dennis, sorry. Dennis, why am I blanking your last name right now? I don't know. Just for, I guess, overseeing that meeting and being open to listening to everybody. And so I felt like it was a really productive meeting. So I just wanted to mention that. And also, I do want to state a concern that the June 16th, 2026 meeting uncut version still isn't available on YouTube. And so I was hoping that when it's, I guess, y'all are publishing everything, that maybe we can publish the uncut version on YouTube so it's easier to find. Okay, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Others? Councilmember Morrissey, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess it was last week already. I had to think of what day it was. I got the opportunity to attend a listening session for the KPUD and talking about potentially KPUD taking over electrification services in our area. So I did raise some questions. I did speak as a citizen of this county and just say, I don't have enough information to make a vote on that. It's my understanding that they took some action today to move forward with that. So I know that we have a good long-standing relationship with PSE. If I could see where this might work for the betterment of the people of Port Orchard, myself included, I'd love to know more information, but based off of what we were given, I don't have enough information to make a decision on anything they would be putting on a ballot this fall. So I hope that this is a topic that we can take up as a group and make sure that we take a stance as an entity where this lies, because my questions went unanswered. They included, how do we pay for all that? If you're taking over infrastructure, how are you paying for that and still keeping rates the same? I didn't even bring up the fact that I have solar on my house, and I'm part of a net metering program, and who would be monitoring that situation if I have to change who I'm net metering with? So there's just so many unanswered questions yet, and so hopefully we can bring that as a future topic to this body.
Councilmember Morrissey, thank you for bringing that up, and I want to pile on to that. I met with our representative, Commissioner Stacey Smith, a month ago on this very topic, various topics, but and I shared with her at that moment in time, she wanted my opinion and what I thought about KPD running a ballot measure and taking over power service, and I told her, I said, I don't have enough information. I said, the step one is conducting a feasibility study, and so that we can make a data-driven decision whether or not Kitsap Public Utility District can do that more cost-effectively. And local control would be nice. There's no doubt about that. But what does this look like? And I wasn't given good answers. I yesterday wrote an email because I saw that on their business items. I've been tracking that very issue, and wrote all three commissioners an email asking them not to do this at this time, that we'd be asking the voters to make an
Mr. Mayor?
uninformed decision.
Sorry, apologies for interrupting, but I just wanted to confirm this is something on the agenda, on the ballot for this fall.
It is. I'm aware of that.
Okay, so-
That's what I'm speaking
okay.
to.
Well, it's not yet.
Correct, yeah. We can't, it's not currently on the ballot, or has been filed. I was trying to do my
They
quick
passed
research.
a resolution yesterday to ask
place it.
that the county put it on the ballot. And
So I think based on the passage of the resolution, this becomes a topic we cannot talk about using public facilities unless we notice a public hearing. So,
Okay, I will
sorry,
zip
I was
my
quickly
lip.
doing my
Thank you.
research to
Thank
see
you for
where this
catching me on that.
was.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. But the council can absolutely do a public hearing and then weigh in. We just have to notice that public hearing and offer an opportunity for the public to speak. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the takeaway is we're all looking forward to more information.
Yeah, that's exactly,
Absolutely.
that's, because we can't make an uninformed decision. So I think I'm hearing we should probably conduct that when we get back in September. Is there an appetite for that? So, all right, we'll add that to our work plan. Thank you for catching that for me, Charlie.
of course.
Others wishing to go to the art, Councilmember Coe?
Yeah, I want to give acknowledgement to a young lady in our area. Her name is Charlie. And recently, like, I'm pretty sure last week, she competes in karate out of the, I'm going to say it wrong, Haruki Karate Studio. And her sensei is Hannah Beers, and she owns a facility with her brother, Nathaniel. At 14 years old, she went at a brown belt, she went over to Romania and competed in a world championship and won the whole thing for the US. And she lives right here in Port Orchard. And so that's really cool. I just wanted to give a big shout out for her for stepping way above her age, way out of her ranking, I guess you'd call it. You know, I wish I knew more, but I just want to give her some real credit and acknowledge someone local here that just went and did a real big thing. So good for her.
Nice.
So
Congratulations.
That's awesome. All right. That's crazy. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, our meeting is adjourned.